that moment, what people would call a spiritual awakening, like the like, oh, like it happened, but it was like, I don't know, ah was the word. It was like, what? Whoa! It was like all of a sudden, like, so I had turned the lights on. I had became aware that I was having an experience in the moment. The moment was the experience. This right now, what you're experiencing right now in this moment is what I'm describing. Are you aware that you are aware that you are having an experience? I know that that puzzles you, that question that I asked. Now, a lot of people are going to say, are you on drugs? No, not on drugs. Not right now. I'm not on drugs right now. No. What are you saying? I'm always having an experience, is what I usually hear from people when I ask them that question. Most people, when I ask that question, they just sort of look past it. They're like, he just asked me something that doesn't matter. And then they go on with their lives, and sometimes they'll find me. Like they'll find me and they'll go, hey, you asked me a question. And at first, I didn't think it was a question to really think about or worry about or ponder about. But after some time, I can't stop thinking about that question. What I don't I think I know what you mean, but I don't know if I know what you mean. And I'm like, well, it's not what most people say it is. Like most people will go, they don't know, but then there's like another majority of people who will go, yeah, I'm definitely having an experience. And you're like, not an experience as in like you went to the grocery store experience, or you washed your dog, or you went to work, or you broke up with your ex, or your brother died. Like, not that type of experience. I'm not describing that. I'm describing something else. Something that, as a group of people, we never talk about it. It's like a thing that we would talk about it if other people talked about it, but I didn't understand this idea of being aware that I was aware of something. And then when you compile it on top of aware that I'm also aware that I'm having an experience. It's just something that was, I don't even think it could have made sense if you broke it down in every kind of way you could. But I realized that no one was really trying to break it down to get me to understand it, because no one seemed to care about this thought of being aware that I was having an experience. But the moment I experienced it with complete awareness that I knew something had fundamentally changed in my life, it changed my entire life. It changed my perspective of this thing called life. It was the first time that I noticed this thing that I'm in for 36 years of my life. For 36 years of my life, I had never saw this thing we call life. This is beyond self-awareness. I mean, it's in that field, right? It's in that space of self-awareness, but the awareness that I could be aware of something that I was thinking about, and then the thought that I was thinking about was the experience of life itself. How is that possible that I had never noticed it before? I had never noticed this before life, experiencing this moment and not attaching it to a story or a feeling or some other preconceived notion that I knew what this was. I had never experienced that. And the day that I was able to answer this question, I didn't even know this question existed until the day I became aware that I was having this experience. It was when the question arose, like, what? This? I looked, and I was quite puzzled with the fact that I missed this my whole entire life. And as you're sitting there pondering and listening to me explain an idea to you, if you're aware of what I'm saying before I ask you this question, you are living a completely different life than most people and things on earth. I would almost say in existence itself, truly. Because this awareness of life happening, and then to notice it, allows something to be known about you. It's quite puzzling, actually, that you can just sit there and notice this thing happening, this thing called life happening, this thinging. This thing is just thinging. you're observing, thinking. Now, what's more puzzling is no one talks about this. You ever notice the conversation I'm having with you now usually is discarded, not really thought about? No one really takes it as any high priority because most people, they don't even know you could have this experience, this understanding, this knowing, this way of being. No one seems to question what they are experiencing in life itself. No one seems to find a particular value in it. And that's puzzling. It's puzzling how you can just be in existence, right? Like, you go to school, you go to work, either you're rich, you're in poverty, doesn't matter the cycle of what you're in. Is something's happening. Something so profound is happening that we don't even talk about it as a group of people, and I find that strange. I find it more strange than I'm leading on right now, because I have a lot of videos to make about this particular subject and topic, but are you aware that you're also like aware of that thought that this thing is happening, like something is happening? And the thing that's happening is this. It's like, you're like, but okay, this is what we'll do. If you're sort of like, I'm not quite sure what you're describing that I'm not aware of, like I'm aware that I'm alive, right? But if you're aware that you think you're like all of these labels you created and thought of, like we're not talking about the same thing. You're like, I'm Marcus, right? I'm Jennifer. And I'm a human being and I'm on earth and I gotta pay bills and right? You're like, It's like all of these things are just like, you're like, that's what like you're thinking that I'm describing. And I'm here to tell you, like, no, I'm not describing that. I'm describing like there's something happening. And that happening is a mystery. It is a mystery. It's a mystery. It's a mystery that you can't even quantify a mystery. There's like nothing that you can describe as mysterious as the thing just thinking, the awareness of the experience. Like there's nothing that we could talk about that equals what I'm pointing at. I want you to notice, notice your hands. Notice them for the first time. Like, look at them and go, I mean, when was the last time you actually looked at your hands? Like, you really just took time to look at your hands. I don't have time to look at my hands, Emily. I got life to deal with. I got you. I feel you. But I want you to notice that I just asked you to do something, and I want you to notice your resistance in even doing the thing that I'm asking. It's very simple. Just look at your hands and realize that what you think you are, you've never actually questioned it. You've never pondered your existence at all. You just go through life and you're just trying to survive. Life is just chaotic, just mess. You can't figure it out. You don't know how to think about anything except problems and issues and things that, for the most part, don't really concern you, but you made it a thing to be concerned about. Because you haven't really noticed this thing happening to really find yourself in a new way of being. Because you never noticed this before. A lot of people, they think they've noticed this before. And I'm like, I don't think you've noticed this before. Because the way you can just see people who have become aware of this, at least question, act differently. And people who usually haven't even quite got to the proper answer, even the question leads them somewhere else in the experience of what we describe as life. It's led them somewhere. It's definitely led me somewhere. I mean, it has led me to quite a magical place. Do I think the magical place exists for everybody? I think so. It appears to be that way. But it starts with the question: are you aware that you are aware that you are having an experience? I mean, just look. How is this? What is this? What are you? And if you say, I'm a human being with feelings and emotions, maybe you're not ready for it. And that's okay. That's your experience. But there's a group of people out there who's watching this right now and listening to my score in the background, observing the thinging, and they're like, hey, you know what? No one's ever kind of pointed it out like the way you're pointing it out, but I've been kind of curious about, what is this? And there's plenty of more videos to get to where I will go into very profound depths of the awareness of the thing that we are. But I always have to start off with the first question. If you can hold this question in your mind, if you can even play around with it just a little bit, just enough to kind of slow down your life to say, what is he describing, talking about? It means you want to know. It appears everybody wants to know. It's just when you want to know, how you want to know, and if it's going to cause you to leave your family or do something else that stops your experience. It could become a very pesky thing in your life if you don't understand the question, find yourself the answer, and then start finding something else to help you secure yourself once you realize what I'm actually asking. there appears to be a process. There doesn't have to be a process, but it appears to be a process. And it appears that I am a part of your process. Welcome. Welcome to my experience. I'm a part of your process. That's cool. We're part of each other's process. Because I'm sure you'll leave a comment or a message or something and you'll say, hey, Sam Lee, hey, you made me think of something and that fundamentally changed my life. And I'll say, hey, it was part of our story. No sweat. It's a beautiful question. Are you aware that you are aware that you are having an experience? I'll tell my story. We like stories, right? One day I was just very puzzled at life. I wasn't very happy with my existence. I didn't want to end my existence, but I was very puzzled about life. It was very, it was a lot. I mean, it was like a lot. It was heavy. And I happened to be born in a place in America that, I mean, it's kind of a cool breeze for me. I know a lot of people aren't having the cool breeze experience everywhere in the world. And even here in America, I know a lot of people aren't having a great experience. But I was. I grew up where people loved me and protected me and took care of me and gave me everything they could give me, showed me the love that they understood. I got that. It was a dope experience growing up. I don't look at any part of my life and go, you know what? I don't think no, it was cool. I went to college. I went to school for engineering and construction management. Finished. Got a really good job. I quit to be an entrepreneur. That caused me a lot of headaches, but it was still cool, right? But I started to notice this, like, I want to use the word unhappiness, right? It was some type of unhappiness, but I didn't know what that was. I didn't think I wasn't unhappy. I was just like, something's not right. But I couldn't put my finger on what was right. And I never thought about what was right and what was wrong. I just knew something was up. Something was amiss, right? And before I awakened to this awareness of knowing that this experience was happening at all, I was doing a lot of things. I went to law school. I made a lot of money, lost a lot of money, made a lot of friendships and relationships, lost a lot of those because I didn't know how to manage those at all. And then one day I was sitting in a law school class and I was sitting there and I was like, I don't know if I want to be a lawyer. Why am I here? It was a really, like, kind of a crazy feeling. Like, I had never felt anything to make me, like, get up and walk out of class. Like, that wasn't me. I was, like, in my second year, right? So it wasn't like I was struggling. I was like, it's kind of easy. You just remember the rules and apply them, and then you can be a lawyer. Oh, this is going to be great. And at the same time, I'm a general contractor. I'm building homes and buildings for people. Like, I'm having this, like, experience of life that most people would go, man, what are you talking about? You got a great life. And I'm thinking, like, man, this thing is like, I don't know, right? right? So as we go through the years, I just kind of started questioning things. First thing I started questioning, I was like, why do we celebrate Thanksgiving? It seems like that's a holiday of like some real tragedy for some folks. But we just are like, we gonna have turkey and have a good time with dressing. And cranberry sauce. And capons. It was crazy, right? So I started questioning that. I started questioning Christmas. Started questioning holidays. Like, what are we doing? What are these days about? Who? What? I mean, well, hold on. And a quick Google search, you just start to kind of question things. You're like, what is these things we're doing? And we're just like, they're like normal, right? They're just normal things we do. And then I started losing things. I started losing time. I started losing people and friends and relationships. I was like, why is my life this way, right? Oh, why me? Yeah, oh, why me? You definitely need to start going, oh, why me? You have to. It's imperative. This question requires you to be selfish to ask yourself, oh, why me? So I started going, oh, why me? Oh, why me? And then I got a girlfriend that I deeply cared about, loved. She gave me a lot of space to figure some things out. And in that space, I started really questioning life in a real way. I couldn't understand how we're on this thing, like hurling through like nothingness around a thing that's exploding. It's exploding. And we're just hurling around it. And there's like people who think about that, like, right? But they don't like really like, we haven't like really connected it together on like a bunch of all of us going, what is going on? Like, what is this thing we're happening? We're just in this perpetual cycle of like not paying attention to it. Have you noticed like no one talks about what I'm talking about? I talk about like mental health awareness is a thing that people are like now doing. Like, yeah. People are kind of like, hey man, what? I don't know, man. I don't know about this, bruh. That was me. I started questioning things. And I started questioning things, and my partner at that time didn't have the capacity to really understand what I was getting at. And I read a book by Robert Greene, The Laws of Human Nature. And I only read one chapter. It was about the chapter of the shadow. And I started to go, wait a minute, I must have a shadow, because this shadow thing I think this is real. I think there are some things that are causing me to have a life experience the way that I'm having it. I don't know if I like this, right? No doubt. So, for the first time, I was able to create like a moment of thought of me in third person. I had never done that before. And you might be doing that right now. You might be in that space right now. Right now. Where you're starting to get another perspective of yourself based on the question that I'm asking you. You're like, what happened to me? Started questioning. Hey, what's going on? What's happening? Do I have a shadow? And then I pictured myself being on an island, and I'm the only man, the only person on the island, and around the island was a bunch of water, and there was a shore somewhere, land somewhere else. But somehow I woke up and I was on this island, and I was by myself, and it was crazy. And was in tattered clothes and a tattered mind and couldn't realize how I got there, but I knew I had to like get in like this deep ocean and swim somewhere. And I was like, where are we swimming? And I was like, I don't know. And I was like, we got to get in that water. I was like, we got to get in that water, bro. We got to swim somewhere. First time I had ever put this like metaphor of seeing myself in like third person and giving myself like a story that I realized like I was in. And that was like the momentum. It just started going for me at that point where I just started going like, man, I gotta question a lot of things about me. Am I treating people good? Am I loving the people around me? And then I went, am I loving myself? Am I good to myself? What am I doing to hold on. Wait a minute. How have I never thought of these questions before? You might say, people have told you about it all the time, Sam Lee. You gotta be good to other people. Look around. Some people, a lot of people ain't being good to other people because they're not thinking about it. Don't try to stand on your high horse on this one. This is the one you kind of just, like, shut up. And ask yourself the question, am I aware that I'm aware that this experience is happening? And then on April 4th, 2021, 4/4/21, I started doing a lot of things without my partner at that time. And I had a question proposed to me by my best friend. He said, hey, we were on the phone and I was at the beach having a good time. He said, hey, how do human beings make artificial intelligence? How do people make things smarter than us? How do we do that? Man, it kind of blew my mind. It was like one of those, again, I started questioning a lot of things. Very lightly, but I started questioning things. And this was one of the things he asked me. And I was like, man, I don't know. That's kind of a crazy question to ask. And then he said, how is it possible that you go to clients' houses that you've never met and they tell you a story and they tell you what they want to be designed and built, and you're able to design it and build it, and they live in it and have an experience in it? How is it possible that you can do that? Just like how is it possible that human beings can make artificial intelligence? In that moment, what people would call a spiritual awakening, like they're like, oh, like it happened, but it was like, I don't know if was the word. It was like, whoa, it was like all of a sudden, like, so I had turned the lights on. I had became aware that I was having an experience in the moment. The moment was the experience. This right now, what you're experiencing right now in this moment is what I'm describing. The present moment, the now, the right now, the now. You start to realize, like, all the stories, all the thoughts, all the things that you're so attached to, like, they disappear when you're like, this is all that's happening. This is all that's happening. I woke up. Like, oh, what do I do now? I broke up with my partner at that time. I moved to live in a hotel for a year. I know y'all know some people who, like, they appear to go crazy and they go just live very different lives than what they used to live. No, they became aware of something, and most likely they became aware closely to what I am experiencing. Because when I meet those people, we have quite the beautiful and in-depth and engrossing conversation about like, oh, you know, and they're like, oh, I know. And then for the past almost 4 years, next April will be 4 years, almost 4 years, I just have done nothing but think about this and become more aware of this thought that I've experienced. And I've created some really cool and magical things in my life. A lot of those things we'll get into as time progresses, as our relationship grows. You'll get to know me, and hopefully I'll get to know you through the comments or through some other mechanism. But here we are. So, it will change your life, this question, but you gotta ask it. And I want you to notice something. Notice how there's something about this question that I'm asking you that you know there's like, you gotta know the answer. Like, you're like, I think I'm supposed to know. It appears that every being is supposed to know. It's just when you want to know, how you want to know, who's going to tell you, how's it going to happen, how the unfolding is going to happen, and it's just going to like whoosh. You're going to see it and go, oh, that's what Sam is talking about. Oh my God, what is this? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on, wait a minute. And don't, you know what I mean? Don't go, you know what? I think you should do whatever you want to do, actually. I don't know what you got to do. But just know that there's another way to see this experience, this thing we call life. There's another way to find a path or be on the path, or as I usually like to say, ride the roller coaster of life, because it appears you're just strapped in somewhere and just going for a ride. A puzzling ride, but a ride. And it's all about how you see it, how you don't see it, what you want to see, what you like to see, what you feel. But when you realize that this thing is just thinging and happening and you just along for the ride and you're aware of it, there appears to be some type of magical ability to make it something that you, I don't quite know if enjoy is the right word. I think enjoy is such a word that we kind of get attached to, where like happiness. I want to be happy. I want to be happy. I want to be happy. But sometimes being sad is okay, right? Sometimes being angry is like great. Sometimes being puzzled is also, is great. All the feelings are great. Like, all the feelings are great. But there's something about the knowing that the feelings are just arising and passing, and you get to ride them, or you get to like not ride them, or you get to avoid them, you get to whatever. There's something happening that you can be more like aware of and ride the ride of this thing we're calling life. But if your life is, and you want to see it differently, just ask yourself this question and follow me. Follow my journey. I'm here. It took a long time to like get all of this set up too, so I think I'm going to keep doing it now. And I love you in a way that you may not quite understand, but I love you for sure. I do. And one day we'll get to why I love you so much. But if you know why I love you, like, hey, we're just here having a good time, right? We're just having a ball. Why do we stare at car crashes? That's it. I'm done. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, share it with a friend. If you have other people in your life who like kind of talk like me, and you're like, hey, I found this guy. He sounds just like you. He's crazy. He's saying crazy things, but it makes sense. I watched the whole video. He had good music too. I score everything that I do, so all the music you hear is by me. If that ever changes, I'll let you know. But this is it. This is it. I'm here. I'm here for you. I love you. And remember, why do we stare at cars?